mentors. You don't have the mentors that are there. You know what I mean? So I got the opportunity to join the United States military, find mentors, get outside my comfort zone, and go from there.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I think this lines right up with the whole origin story. For you, man, we know that success isn't an accident, it's engineered. Take us back to that defining moment for you that pushed you to bet on yourself.
Yeah. So the first thing, betting on myself, that pushed at me, say, look, I need to do this, was that I was never forget, I was in my sergeant major. I was a driver. So I used to drive this command sergeant major. He was an MP, he was a command sergeant major. And I used to drive him everywhere around. I'm like, I had my office used to sit right outside of his office. And one day someone came in his office and they didn't have pretty much they didn't save money. It wasn't investing, it wasn't saving. Their time was ending. They had to get out the military. They didn't have anything saved. Came in to ask the sergeant major, to loan some money. At that point, I heard that whole conversation because my office was literally next door to his office. He called me in after that meeting that he had. Hey, Bethea, get in here. I went in there. He said, you heard that conversation I just had? I said, yes, Sergeant Major. And this me only been in the military for less than a year. And I was working for this man. And he said, how about not ever in your life know that you worked so hard for 20 years and you don't have money? You don't have nothing in your account. And let me show you something. At that point, that's when he showed me his IRA account, which had over $100,000 in there. And at that point, I never seen that type of money. And that when the light bulb came on, I said, man, I only been gone for less than a year. And this guy showed me $100,000, what I'm saying, something that I saw, when Ben, you don't see those things. You hear about this and you hear about that. You may see 10,000 or, whatever the case may be, but to see that the first time that light bulb came and said, listen, I don't want to be like him. I come from this type of environment. I want to be better. No one ever showed me that. I want to be able to show people that because that was a light bulb that came in my head. And I still remember that 20 years later. I still remember that day like it was yesterday because that right there, I saw something that I wanted that no one from my hometown or anywhere in my whole entire life, all the way up to my first 20 years on this earth, no one never ever showed me anything like that. So that would turn the light bulb on.
And that's so good. So often in my community, I'm sharing with my audience members. We get so fixated on the how, but what I heard in your answer wasn't really a how, but the why. You had someone who was a mentor to you, who basically said when you were really impressionable, this is the path. This is where he didn't give you any of the details at that point, but he planted that fire in you. And I believe that for everybody, if we can fixate on the why we want something, the how will take care of itself. You know,
Right.
people, places, and circumstances will align themselves in God, or you may call it the universe. I call it God. It will bring people into your space. And so that is so perfect. That is so perfect. So now to follow up on that, here's what I'm wondering. So every entrepreneur has what I call a grind season. What was yours? And what did it take for you mentally, physically, and spiritually to break through to get to your next level?
You said grind season.
The grind season. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
well, first off, I grind all day, every day. You know what I mean? I believe like if you want to, what I'm saying, if you want to be in if you want to be, get into the top 1% is easy. You know what I mean? If you Google how much you have to make to be in the top 1%, it's less than $400,000. So if you're making about $300,000 to $400,000, you make more money than 99% of everybody. I didn't even want that. I said, oh man, that's it. I Googled, I said, what about 0.01%? How much money they make? And I wanted that. So that's why I adjusted my fire and I had to change a lot, man. I had to change a lot of habits, you know what I mean? Things that I used to do, I had to really, like give up things like going out, you know what I'm saying? watching basketball, football, BET, and just wasteful spending, and saying I had to write down my goals, and I had to be, me and my wife, saying, had to be on the same page. That's super important that whoever you building with got to understand and be ready to go on this journey with you. You know what I'm saying? Physical, mental, spiritual, all that together is how you go to the next level. And you have to also, like, you have to not only talk about it and write it down, you have to hold each other accountable, and you got to get what we call accountability partner. And that's my wife. We hold each other accountable. We know our goals, and we look at our goals. We're not just talking about our goals amongst each other, but we also bring our family and our kids. You know what I mean? On Sundays, we talk about our goals. We have them write down goals, and not just hey, yeah, I want this amount. What are you doing? What are you doing to give back? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing to pay it forward? You know what I'm saying? So, just as you continue to grow and you continue to build, I believe as you do something, you taking care of people, you know what I'm saying? All the other stuff will come. You know what I mean? You got to figure out how you are able to impact as many as people as possible. And that can be impacting people from a nonprofit standpoint or for a profitable standpoint, because on a profitable standpoint, in order for you to hit the billions and billions and millions of dollars, you know what I'm saying, you got to have a lot of clientele, right? You know what I'm saying? So I look at, you look at all these Microsoft, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, computers and software. Look how many people is buying their product, for gym memberships. Like, I'm in the gym business, right? I started out with one gym. The average gym got 700. I said, I need 70,000 people. You know what I mean? How do I get 700,000 people paying me? So that's how I look at it. I look as many people I impact on a consumer base or nonprofit base. I want to impact as many. And I know the more people I get in front of, the more people my product get in front of, the more people we help them, is going to come back tenfold. You know what I mean?
So, D, you just messed me up, man, because I had some prepared questions, and you mentioned your wife Pamela,
Yeah.
and so now I'm off down another rabbit hole, because you also got us reading several books in your 100 Streams of Income community,
Yes.
and one of the books I'm on right now is Rocket Fuel.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife and I, we went through the questionnaire. So for
Yeah.
you and
Mm-hmm.
Pamela, do y'all also have that visionary and integrator
Integrator. Yes.
relationship, or is it a little different for you guys?
Oh no, man. We do. It's visionary integrator for sure. I'm the visionary. My wife is the integrator of our Luxury Wave, our property management company. You stayed in one of the villas right in front of my house. But she's think of integrator as a COO, right? You know what I mean? The executor of your vision. Just like, my I lead, my wife follows. She support me, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything that's in the Bible, she stand by me. So that's what we do. We build our business the same way. You know what I'm saying? She believe in the vision. And she have seen it too, right? You got to think about, how long we've been building this. And we looking back, imagine me telling my wife when it was 20, think it was like 26, 25 years old. I'm like, hey, we're gonna live off one paycheck. You can't get your nails done every other week. You can't have the heels. You can't do the what's going. But believe in me, you know what I'm saying? 20 years, you'll never have to work if you don't want to. We'll have millions of dollars. Just trust me, you know what I mean? And she did it, you know what I mean? And she had access to all the bank accounts. So, she saw those accounts grow millions of dollars to this day, millions of dollars in cash that we have and liquid, you know what I mean? And built $130 million business, $100 million that was built on active duty military. And, when she retired from the military, she didn't have to work. But, what I'm saying, we stood up a property management company, and she worked right here from our house. All the things she manages right here on the resort. She got a team, you know what I mean? And when we ready to exit that, you know what I mean? We exit that and start to right now. We currently, in the position of reposition our whole portfolio for the next 10 years.
So good. That's so good. All right, so I'm back on track. I had to ask that question. So when we talk about wealth, we know it isn't created by hard work. That's the myth. It's created by thinking smart. What's one business move or strategic decision that changed the game for you?
The biggest thing is buying, creating assets that produces income. I always said this here. Like athletes can't make more money than me. I mean, you got your LeBrons and all that, but think about your favorite athlete. Somebody, I don't know what they make, say $20 million, right? Even they making $5 million a year and they plan on whatever, $5 million a year, say they play for 10 years, it's 50 million. They can't make more money than me. You know what I mean? Why is that? You know what I mean? Because I know that there's no ceiling on how much money I can make. They're gonna have a cap on them, right? They're gonna have a cap. Say, hey, we're gonna pay you this. You can't tell me I can't build 100 businesses and all those businesses creating $100,000 per business per year times 100. Imagine I have 1,000 businesses and I know people that own 1,000 businesses, right? There's no limit how much money. So the biggest thing that I love is that I can go out there and buy income producing assets that pays for my lifestyle. That I don't believe in liability. I would not buy anything unless it's producing cash to purchase something that I want. So if I want a plane one day, I may take an apartment building that I own to pay for that plane. If I want a Ferrari, I would take a villa that I own in Hawaii that pays for a $4,000 or $5,000 property. I mean, $4,000 or $5,000 payment, and I'm making $10,000, $12,000 a month off that. So the game for me is, and the biggest change is being able to collect and buy income producing assets where I'm gonna get all these tax benefits through the government from depreciation, offsetting expenses, traveling the world, and I get to pass those things off to my trust, to my kids, to my whoever I want to when I'm gone, and I'm passing them a piece of legacy. You know what I mean?
Mm. So, D, this next question is going to seem a little because you exude so much confidence. Many of my audience members, black and brown entrepreneurs, and often, we're in spaces that are not intended for us.
Yes.
So that being said, how did you break through those spaces and still have that level of confidence and belief when many of us we're what's the word, it's not fake it till you make it, you project it until you perfect it.
Right.
Speak to that a little bit.
All right. No, that's good. It's funny you asked me that today because I have dinner with the mayor, me and my wife. We have dinner with the mayor, but in order to get in those rooms and break through those rooms, it goes back to what I said earlier. The most important part to me in business, where you're doing business, real estate, just tapping into marketing, is finding a mentor. You got to find a mentor, and the mentor is going to guide you and help you put yourself where you need to be. When I got my mentor, the big one that I got, the real one, the one that you met at the conference, Steve Matter, he came on stage. Remember him?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, so Steve, first thing that he told me, probably like maybe like a year. Remember now, I'm meeting with him, I'm getting things, and he's been my mentor for almost 10 years. And he said, D, he said, all right, you done did everything I told you. You done check this block, this block. Now we have to get you in front of the lenders, the bankers. I said, okay, what you mean? Like we're gonna go down there and go to the bank? And he said, no, 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 no. We're gonna get you in front of them. Like, and I didn't know what he mean. And what happened is, I ended up getting a call and I was invited to a fundraiser and for a nonprofit Ronald McDonald fundraiser they do. We do a big fundraiser here. And when I got there, I was strategically placed at the table with the president of CBB. You know what I mean? And with the finance person of his bank to the right hand, me, my wife, and the whole team. That point created a relationship right there. And we still have that relationship with CBB. Fast forward 4 years later, 5 years later, let me see. This right here is probably like 2 years ago. Same conversation. All right. D, what are you doing to the community? La la la. I said, yeah, I went to this fundraiser and I supported Josh Green, just trying to build a relationship. He was right at 10, he was Lieutenant Governor Josh Green. And then he became the governor a few years ago. And I'll never forget mentor. He said, well, hey, You will no longer give a check at his fundraiser, right? Why is that, right? Think about going to a fundraiser when his events with like 500 people there. He said it's going to be a
Mhm.
different type of fundraiser. You'll get more detail later. 2 weeks go by, me and my wife got an email, private dinner at his house with the mayor. I got there at the dinner, me and my wife, and it was right after it was right after my not the conference before last, not last year conference, but the conference before then. It's right after that conference. And I go in there, and the mayor was there, and we went in there to his living room. Now it's about 6 couples there, plus Steve and his wife, Susan. What I'll tell you this is, again, I was strategically placed to sit right next to the mayor. Who did you see at my conference last year?
The mayor.
Thank you. Who I'm eating
Yeah,
dinner with tonight?
the mayor.
There you go. All right.
And it was all based on the play that your mentor told you to run.
I'm just running the playbook. You just got to go out there and find the shakers and movers, and and like these people will give you their time. Don't think they would not give you their time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I think it's a myth that successful people don't like helping people. I think it's a
Mhm.
myth. I think that people that want to be successful is nervous or scared, don't know how to approach people. All right. And they don't want nothing. You know what I mean? And I always people ask me, what do you do, man? Like, it's easy, man. I told y'all today, I say, I want y'all to go out and you find someone and go take them to lunch. You know what I mean? That's same thing I told y'all about contractors and lenders. Now go find a mentor. And it's only one question that you got to ask them in a light bulb. Everybody's asked this question, they're gonna get help. Just say, "Hey man, my name Earl. I want to change my life. I come from this. I want to create general. I just need some guidance, and I'm willing to learn. But I want to. How can I bring value to you? I
Mm,
mean, say, hey sir, I know you got it all, but how can I help you? How can I add value to you? Normally, they ain't gonna need your value, but they want to hear that. You know what I mean? Because they know
mhm.
that you're willing to do something for free because you want it that bad. You know what I mean?
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good. Wow. Wow. Okay. All right. The answer this for me, because right now you're blowing my audience away. You talking about meeting the mayor, having a mentor who's a multimillionaire, and so you're like Superman. They might not think that you have any any down or any misses. So for you, what was a lesson that you learned the hard way in business that
Mm-hmm.
you wish more people understood right from the beginning?
Partnership. Partnership. Understanding the partnership. There's no such thing as 50-50 partnership. Now, remember, I talked about it today too, didn't I? Did I say that today?
You did.
Partnership. Never, why do you think I talked about it? You know what I mean? Because I was in a 50-50 partnership, and there's no should never be a 50-50 partnership. And also outline and knowing exactly in details on what and who should be doing what before y'all start a partnership. My first franchise that I purchased many years ago, I still own this today. End up buying it out, but when you come from nothing, you know what I mean, and you build a little sum, right? By then, I probably only had like, I think I just hit $1 million net worth. I was probably like 20 some, 27, 26, maybe 28, something like that. But when you come from the beginnings that we come from, most of your listeners come from, you don't want to go backwards, and you'll stay up all night and work if you have to, you think you're going to lose something because the business is the business not failing, business not working. What I got caught up in was that one of my partners come from money, and I mean, I didn't come from money, so when the business wasn't doing good, it was easy for him to write a check every single month, and his family, I mean, it was nothing. It wasn't, I mean, he's had a silver spoon in his mouth. But for me, on the other hand, I was like up all night, stressed all night. Like, I'm never gonna be able to retire. I'm gonna have to work and pay this debt off and work till I'm 50 years old. And I was just really nervous. So I always tell people that there's a lot of people believe that just because two people are friends, they should go in partnership. That's not how you structure a partnership. You know what I mean? You should be rewarded based off you eat what you kill, what you bring to the table. You know what I mean? If you out there and you kicking down doors, you CEO, you manage the people, you doing it, you should be compensated for that. Now, if most business start from the ground, start from bottom, right? And that's how that like
Mhm.
we're gonna figure this out. We 50-50, we're gonna make all decisions together, we're gonna do all these things. That's kind of like where you go wrong at, really. You know what I mean? Because what happened 10 years down the line and the business y'all started worth 100-200 million dollars, and you that one person end up taking the CEO role, and this person over here started to do going off doing something else that's don't even equate with the time that the CEO is doing in the business, right? So
Mhm.
just understanding deals and deal points before you get into deals, and never do a 50-50 partnership, ever do a 50-50 partnership. You know what I mean? Like that's one thing that I learned. You know what I mean? Like these big companies, I think Kanye West was on a meeting one day, and I think it was somebody said, "Yeah, we 50-50." Kanye said, "No, you're not. No, you're not. Who got the extra percent?" Because at the biggest deals, somebody all in those big deals, they know
Right,
someone got that extra
right,
percent. It's never 50-50, right? Yeah.
right, right. That's
But
so good.
we'll do 50-50 because we don't know no better, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But the
yeah,
big
that's so
companies
good.
ain't never be 50-50.
Yeah, yeah. Part of my journey, I've been in several businesses, and none of my partnerships, aside from my wife, have ever been 50-50 in terms of the grind. I've always been outworking everybody else, yet on paper we're 50-50. So what you're saying is hit me so hard. And and
Yeah.
and I was paying attention when you had that session. And never
Yeah.
50-50.
Yeah.
Never.
And 70% of partnerships fail.
Yep. I'm that statistic for sure.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So help my audience with this. Ownership versus opportunity. What's the biggest misconception about building generational wealth?
I think they think that like, hey, you're supposed to work so hard and just give your kids everything so they can go spend the money. I think that's a big myth. You know what I mean? I think creating generational wealth should be you having the assets and so that you are making it easier that your kids can be able to get access to things that was harder for you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think generation people say, "I'm gonna create generation wealth," and then like what's the Paris Hilton? You remember those girls when I was growing up, the Hilton girls?
Yes, sir.
That they just all walk around with a dog. The dog got private jets and things like that. Um, I think that's TV type stuff. I think generational wealth should be how you paying it for. You know what I'm saying? Having an opportunity to travel, educate your kids, being able to have those assets that they can leverage. So they or when I say leverage, I mean like my kids can come to me and get a non-recourse loan at 1%, you know what I mean? And instead of 10 years, 20 years, you know what I'm saying, life insurance policy, if something happens. That's I think people think when we talk about creating generational wealth, they also think that it's just something like it's easy. You know what I mean? I'm buy this house and buy another house, and that's generational wealth. But what happened if you're not educating the people that you're supposed to be leaving that stuff to? You know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen with that? You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
they leaving a whole piece off of it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's no need that you took 30 years, 40 years to build something. You pass it here to the uneducated, what I'm saying, kids and grandkids, and then all that just goes down the wall. So you have to really make sure everything is right, tight, and you got the right provisions in your trust agreement. And yeah, you just do it that way. In our trust, we put in things in there like if you run for president, you get $2 million. You run for mayor, you get this amount of money for your campaign. So so I'm
Wow.
putting forcing mechanisms in the provision that they have to go and do a family trip every no less than once every 2 years. They have to meet in person with the families. You know what I mean? And go over those things. And me and my wife actually when you look at a trust, there's so many pages. So we simplified it where that it's a couple of pages the way that we write it down. And
Hmm.
that's what we're doing. And then we're gonna do like maybe like a video, you know what I'm saying? So that, so that's all the stuff too, man. I plan on, what I was talking earlier when I said asset protection, health and wellness that we'll be doing is getting out those trust attorneys out there so that we can talk about how creative we can get, you know what I'm saying, and be educate, how these assets can be passed down for many generations and
Right.
ones that you're afraid of that may miss the opportunity. You kind of put those things inside the trust so you can continue to educate.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I heard this once, and then I finally got a chance to experience it firsthand. But and I don't know what event I was at. I might have been at your event in Hawaii. I'm not sure, but the conversation came up that people of color, when we come together as family, we rarely talk about money.
Money.
We rarely talk about your credit score. But in Caucasian families, um, it's pretty commonplace. And I actually had an opportunity. My oldest child, you met my youngest one that's in the
Mhm.
military, but my oldest child is dating a young lady, and her uncle is owns several companies overseas. So she comes from money, and 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 when we got into the conversation over the meal, they were asking me and my wife about our Airbnbs, and we were very, very straightforward, transparent, and then they just kind of share some things that they were doing, and I'm like, man, we have never in our immediate circle been so open to talk about money and finances,
Yeah.
and it was a little bit of an eye opener on how you know, we're kind of at a disadvantage because we're so close and guarded about moves and plays to make. And I think some of our mental uh, shortcomings or our mental, I think it's fear more so than anything else. It gets projected onto our kids at a real early age, and they don't maximize some of the opportunities. They don't see the opportunities because of the mental. So from the position that you are right now,
Mhm.
speak to that because you're all about empowerment and financial
100%.
literacy.
I hate that 100%. You hit it on the head. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I mean, and when I say it, it's probably one of the biggest things that I really don't care for when it comes to us as us blacks. You know what I mean? And that's not educated. Now, this is where I think it comes from, right? What you're talking about is, look, these things are not being talked about at the dinner table. All right. They're talking about it at their dinner table with their kids, and we are not. Now, for our mother, grandmother, father, grandfather, I got it. Their generation, they didn't understand it. But I always tell people this here and there, is I like even my mom's, I was going through this. I said, well, even though you didn't have it, what we should have probably been talking about, the mistakes to avoid, knowing the mistakes that you did, you know what I'm saying?
Bingo,
That's the
bingo.
part, right? So
Yep.
I got it. You couldn't tell me any, hey, yeah, I never use the word save. I always say invest, right? But I do see that a lot, right? And then that's one of the things that I'm trying to always preach. I always tell people like, hey, they got to start with your kids. You got to talk about it at the dinner table. You got to block that time out. And like my son, he's 5 years old, just turned 6. But this Joker, man, like, it's unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like, man, it's like crazy with him and business and money and he's got his own, he got the stocks, the QQQ that Steve, he owned that. You know what I mean? He could
Is
tell if
that right?
I call him up here right now, ask him what stock he got. He'll tell you. So I got the QQQ, and you say how many companies do? Oh, he'll tell you 10. He know how much money. He come home, Dad. Let me see my money. Let me see it go up and down. So that's because we talk about money, and I see him that he liked he liked the fact that he can sell something, make money, and then make more money. And he understand that. So and that's what we're doing. We're talking about it, and my kids come to my conferences. We don't definitely don't support our kids, but more on the education piece. And I think there's more people should do it, should continue to do it. And then people is watching this right now, and you have not came from money. which a lot of you and lot like just like me, is to talk about your mistakes that you have made in your time. Just talk
Mm.
about those at the dinner table. Just talk about this. Hey, son, don't do this. Hey, baby girl, don't do this. This is what mama messed up. This is why my credit score. Look at this here. This is why, I'm living check to check because show them 18% credit card APR that you paying right now and show them the interest. It's not even taking nothing principal. Just those things right there are life changing, you know what I mean, for them, believe it or not.
That's huge. And I love how you framed it because I'm actually take that back to my dinner table when we get to our next, Thanksgiving or whatever, and ask, hey, let's speak on the mistakes, because I think it's insightful to just have people be real raw for the betterment of the next generation.
Right.
So that's huge, man. That's huge. All right, man. So we kind of been heading in this direction, but we're gonna talk about mindset, money, and mastery. So Byron Allen, one of my idols, often says that wealth is about ownership and not participation. What does ownership mean to you, and how have you structured your business for long-term control?
Ownership and this something definitely for the owners, like, is one where it's called equity. You want equity. That's ownership. If you don't have equity, you don't own nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of us, we used to say, hey, yo, I'm a boss. I'm a boss. And don't have a K1, don't even know what a K1 is. So, ownership to me is you have equity in a company and you can pass that equity down. You can't pass down nothing that's not ownership. You know what I mean? So the way that I structured my deals are different. I built my company with an ideal, and I was like, you know what, I'll come up with this idea. I brought my friends. I was in the same thing. Like, oh yeah, we all gonna do this. Is holding down things. 25, 25, 25, 25, come up these percentage, then go talk to no mentor, just making up things. And when I went through that whole process with my first partner that went bad, I knew that, what I'm saying, like, equity was super important. And I started to research how is equity, even how, like, the valuation, how do we evaluate equity and what does that mean? Because a lot of people say, "Oh, I only got them a 1%." I mean, I just hate people just throw numbers, don't understand what it means. 1% of $1 billion is a lot of money. You know what I mean? It's a whole lot of money. 1% of $100 million is a whole lot of money for people. You know what I mean? That's $1 million. So never give up equity. Keep as much equity as possible. You know what I'm saying? And when as you continue to grow and you building teams, just make sure the people that you are building teams with is putting in the work to get that equity. You know what I mean? Whereas it's that sweat equity or whatever the case may be, you want to make sure that everything is structured in that way. But that's kind of like how we structure. Real estate deals are structured actually different. And I was gonna actually show y'all that during the DB community before this podcast. And the way that structure is that it's five buckets typically on a real estate deal. The first deal, the bucket is that is who found the deal, right? So you get a percentage for that. All these five buckets are have percentages, right? So let's say the
Mhm.
first bucket is acquisition. That bucket is worth 10% on my deals, right? So
Mm,
so I
okay.
can split that however I want with whoever I want, just part of my acquisition team. My acquisition team make of three people: me, Bob, and Trey. Bob and Trey run everything. I don't get on the calls. I just approve deals and give them guidance, and that's it. Right. So typically I take half of it and let them, Bob get a little bit more and then Trey get a little bit, right? And then the next bucket is EMD. That's earnings money. The EMD is like deposit. Think about who's
Right.
bringing the deposit down to buy say you buying a 4 unit apartment, that's $1 million. And you need EMD is like that earnest money. Who's putting down the earnest money just in case the deal don't go through, they're gonna lose that. That bucket is worth 20%. So now you 30%, right? Normally what we do is we let whoever You can bring that person in from a family or within everybody. Say, let's split it all together, and we all split it evenly amongst 4 people. So each person get 5% each, right? For 20%, right?
Mm.
Then the next bucket is the capital, right? Raising the money. Who's out there doing all the work, raising the capital? That bucket is always worth the most. It's 30%. So if someone come in and raise the whole $1 million through their network, they get 30% of their deal. And then the next bucket is the asset manager bucket. Who's managing the assets? That's who's working. You know what I mean? Who's grinding. That bucket is 20%. And then the last bucket is who's signing the debt, who's putting their house on the line, their cars on the line, their business on the line to go make this deal work for the bank. That bucket is worth normally 10 or 15%. So that's how we structure deals on real estate. So if you look at that, you look at those 5 buckets, you get what you bring to the table. You know what I mean? Like if you ain't doing nothing, you don't get nothing. That's how we do real estate. And then for the business, you know what I'm saying, that can be as, how you structure, and then you just continue to grow. And then when the business grow, the capital coming in, and then now you continue to grow with the guys or gals that you went in business with, and you never have to probably come out of pocket it again because now y'all built this money machine and the company continue to grow. And then their equity, right, that they probably, like my guys gave me, I talk about all the time, my guys gave me $20,000 each. They all multimillionaires, around $4 or $5 million each. They are now off of $25,000 investment.
That's so good. That's so good. And I don't know how you see in my notes, because every time you answer a question, you're leading me to my next question that I got
Oh,
in
for
my
real?
you're clairvoyant. Because so we're kind of talking about scaling now. So
Okay.
when it comes to scaling well, most people play it very small. What's one overlooked strategy that can turn a business into an empire?
Overlooked strategy that can turn a business into an empire is overlook is I think having and dialing in systems, your processes, like nailing them down to a T, right? So that no one can interfere or break through that.
Say more.
I'm sorry, I got someone that just came in, so I had to tell them calm down. But yeah, so having your system so tight that I always tell people I like it like this, right? I like to build businesses just like McDonald's, just like a franchise. Every business I try to do it like a franchise, where that we put the systems and process so tight that anyone can come in there and run that business. It's like putting it on like think about putting a book on a bookshelf. Like, you know what I
Sure.
mean? Like you can just keep on repeat. Say, all right, same thing. Just keep on doing it over and over and over and over and over and over. That's how we do it.
That's huge. Because I think most of us can relate to the whole McDonald analogy. It don't matter whether you're in Denver or whether you're in Dallas. The drink machine is on the same side of the store.
Every time.
Yep, yep, yep. So that you can have the whole store running by a handful of teenagers.
That's it. And we're in the process now where that we were repositioning our portfolio where we are getting out of the franchisee business, becoming the franchisor, where we building our own franchise now. So now I'm going into more as creating scaling wealth quicker, faster, by impacting more. The way you can do that is bring in more people to buy into a system product that you own, you created, and scale it that way.
Beautiful, beautiful. So I got to move fast, man. We're almost at the top of the hour. A
Okay.
couple of questions I'm just not going to get to, so I'm going to pick and choose. But I love this question right here. Uh, Generational wealth isn't just about money; it's about knowledge and infrastructure.
Yes.
What's one principle you live by that ensures your success will outlast you?
Everybody eat. Set something up that everybody eats off forever. Like
Mm,
everybody eat. And I mean, like you can even while I'm gone, people should be eating off what I left, even off what we created, even off the knowledge, the systems, process, the tools, things, the intellectual property that we leave behind.
hmm
Everyone eats. It's a lot,
So
lot,
it's
lot of food out there for everyone. There's so much
so
money. I can't own all of it.
right. So it sounds like it's less about the it's less about the mechanics and it's more about the principles, making sure
100%.
people have mastered the principles.
100%. If they master the principles, you know what I mean? Like that's super important. That's how we
Yeah,
impact. You want to impact as many as people as possible.
right.
People, I'm telling you, listen, the people that impacts people are the most successful people. The people that impacts the most is always the most successful.
Yeah.
And you look at that at both ways, at a non-profitable state and from a business. As a business that's profitable, the more people I get to pay me for a membership, for rent, the more doors I own. Think about apartment ain't not but a franchise if you think about it. You know what I mean,
Hmm.
100 units. I use 100 units. I can go buy 100 units 100 times and put the same system, the same product. And guess what? My customers are my tenants.
Hmm.
For every $1,000 they pay me, by the time I pay staff, by the time I pay everybody, I get $150. $150 multiply that across 1,000 units
Hmm.
per month that they paying.
Real good. Real good. Real
Yeah.
good. All right, man. All right, it's speed round here. So if you had to start over with nothing
Mhm.
but your knowledge and experience, what would be your first three moves?
If I were to start off with nothing, I probably the first three moves. If I could say if I would have start off with nothing right now and go, I would have I would have found my mentor first. That would have been the first thing I would have did. You know what I mean? That we always wait till we mess up and then go try to find help. I would have definitely went to go find a mentor first. That's number one.
Hmm.
Um, um, number two, definitely vet your partners. You know what I mean? You have to vet your partners. Like you literally gotta vet your partners. You know what I mean? You like I wish I would didn't know nothing. I didn't even know how to even do that. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't know how to do it. And knowing what I know now, that would have helped me really, really probably grow and scale. Um, I know exactly what it is. Don't be scared to go out there and go for the big deals. If you're gonna fail, you're gonna fail regardless. Whether it's what was $100,000 deal or was $1 million deal. It's the same exact same time, same alpha. The bank come get your house at $100,000 deal. So what? They can go get it. But you're gonna come get my house, and need to come get it at $1 million opportunity, not $100,000 opportunity. So
I
deals
love
gotta be big, big deals.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, here. Next question. If you had a 5 minute conversation with your younger self, what's the one thing that you would make sure that they understood?
I'm always gonna say, get a mentor number one, because that's just so important to me. And your circle, you know what I mean? Go find people that are like-minded, right? Look around your circle and everybody's on the block drinking the 40s. You probably don't want that circle. You got to go somewhere. Go find those boys out in the country or some that's doing something totally different. Like, maybe they working with, you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, right?
Yes,
Um,
sir.
yeah, so you got to go find that rich dad, poor dad, and maybe their daddy is a mechanic, but teaching them the small business stuff. Go hang around that kid and their parents, and that's what you got to do. Like, hey, my people ain't doing it. I'm gonna go find some parents that's out here doing it and say, hey, I come work and I come help, sir. I want to learn this, and I think that's the whole rich dad, poor dad thing.
I love it. I love it. Some of the best opportunities are often hidden in plain sight. What's something that most people overlook when they're trying to level up?
But, my one of my good friends, I talk to him every day. His name Kevin Davis. He live up here. I talk to him every single day. This guy has built. You're gonna meet him at the conference today. Him and his wife built almost 300 businesses. Brother and sister, man. He told me this and it's always stuck to me. I was like, I'm like, yeah, man. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna put my money on this, or I'm gonna go invest in the stock market, or I'm gonna do. He said, D. He said, no, man. You need to invest it in you. You need to put your money embedded on
Mm-hmm.
you. He said S&P and me. Like the stock market will give you what? An 8%, 10, 12% return. How much money are you making on your gems right now? I'm doing about 40% return. All right, then put your money on yourself and you're gonna go make more money in the stock market. So I think people sometimes forget to bet on themselves. And if you bet on yourself, you know what you can do and you can create a high return if you bet on yourself.
Man, that's so good. That is so good. All right, we are landing the plane. This is our final question. We're at the top of the hour, and my bucket is overflowing right now, brother. And I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm gonna tell you, man. So for
Me
you,
too.
man, if you could give my audience one piece of advice that has made the biggest impact on your journey, what would that be?
The biggest advice that I love is literally giving back. Again, I'm gonna go back to my mentor. When I asked him, for to be my mentor, we went. I think maybe like after the second meeting that I met him. Remember now, this was almost 10 years ago. He said, D, he said, I love everything that you're doing. You got your nonprofit, you're helping all those people. He said, continue to pay it forward. He said, I would not help no one who is not helping others. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So uh what we have to do in this world, especially for your audience, you know what I mean? If they black and brown people and come from humble beginnings and things like that, is our community don't like that. We call those haters, right? You know what I mean? It's a lot of haters, and I don't know why our community is so, you don't see that for others. Like, someone go to the top, they try to pull them down, they
Yeah.
naysayers. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
can't talk to your cousin, can't talk to your sister, can't talk to your mom. Why you doing that for? You know what I'm saying? And they don't see it. You like, nah, man, like you have to literally, you know what I mean, change the whole mindset and just take a whole different approach.
Mhm. Yeah. So good, so good. So let me just speak to my audience. We're at the top of the hour, man. I hope you guys have been inspired. I hope you guys have been equipped, and I hope you guys are ready to move. Because really, the first step in changing your life starts with the mental. It is not with the opportunity. You got to prepare yourself before the opportunity comes. And I had a mentor say, it's better to have an opportunity. It's better not to have an opportunity and be prepared than to be prepared, have an opportunity and not have that preparation. And so, my biggest takeaway is that, you know, this this brother's been talking about getting a mentor, getting a mentor, getting a mentor. Look, I bet on myself. This is one of my mentors. I
Yes.
want y'all to do the same. I want you to do the same. It's one thing to talk about it, but it's another thing to be about it. So as we wrap this up, man, I just want to encourage all of you guys, be blessed, but more importantly, be a blessing. D, I appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you.
All right. Tell Pamela I said hello. We can't wait to see you guys again.
All right, brother. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right. Blessings, everybody.